Hey everybody, Happy New Year! I'm here to kick off my first strategy guide review of 2016 with a 2015 game, Just Cause 3, which was a huge, massive open world game, although not as massive as Xenoblade Chronicles X, naturally. I don't think anything is, but you've heard Chris and I talk about that a lot and you don't care about that anymore. But anyway, so went through the guide. The guide was pretty helpful. I do have some beefs with it. I kind of think this guide was rushed. Maybe the game was too, I don't know, but I'm kind of having some issues with some things of the guide. So anyway, let's get on to it. It's actually not as fat as you would expect for a guide for a game as big as this. But one thing I will say that the walkthrough is very helpful. You kind of don't need it in a sense that a lot of the game, I mean, most of the stuff is like shoot as much as you can, but for some of them that are very much time oriented, or you have to protect something while it's getting attacked, or there's a crazy thing like, for example, the missile cowboy mission where you have to ride a missile. The guide gives really good tips on how to help with that. Like, it'll even tell you, like, if you die, it's no big deal, because where you respawn at this checkpoint, it actually puts you in a better spot. So it gave really good tips with that. And actually the guide was really funny too. I actually put a bookmark here for one thing, because there was this, because I was reading this because I was having a lot of trouble, because it was you have to fly a jet, and I fly helicopters mostly because I don't like the way jets handle. But anyway, you have to save this one airplane, and you have to tether onto it and zip line over. And so in the guide, because I was reading this, it's like, okay, how do I do this, blah blah blah, and the guide said take over for the pilot who has had some medical complications. And I was like, medical complications? Like, do you just move over? No, the medical complications are that when you tether and you go in, he yanks the pilot out and throws him out of the plane. So the medical complications are most likely that he is falling to his death, because I never saw a parachute. And yeah, that was really, to me, a funny way of putting stuff. And the guide also will tell you, like, if you're having trouble with this one part, look over here because there's this weapon over here. Try using that instead. So it was, pretty helpful with that. The big thing with this game is the collectibles. Let me get to one of the big maps. Or I should say liberation, not the collectibles, but the liberation, which is where you free all of the different provinces or settlements. And so you list like all challenges. But yes, so here's the big overworld map. Let's see if I can do this. And this is all very helpful. Now what these are not collectibles. These are all the settlements. And I have to say that, when you're in a province and you know that there's about 5 settlements in the province, you aren't sure. Oh, okay. Well, I was going to have Just Cause 3 hanging out there, but whatever, we'll just ignore it. So when you have the, so we get to a certain province, you'll know that there's 5 settlements, but you may not exactly know where they all are. And especially in the bigger island, it's not as obvious, because some of the spots where it looks like that might be a settlement, it's actually ruins. So there's some times where I could not figure out where a settlement was, and this was really helpful. My only complaint about this is that this is the only large map like this, and I really wish that they had broken this down into the smaller islands, because some of this stuff was kind of hard to make out and see. So, but then when you move into the actual settlements, like it points out like where all the different things are that you have to destroy. With the settlements of the actual cities, where you have to disable these monitors in a certain amount of time, which was always a pain in the ass. The guide actually really did have a here's the fastest way to do it, and there were a couple that were just so hard. If it wasn't for the guide, I never would have gotten it. And now I got them like within 2 seconds of the time limit, but I have a feeling that's the fastest that it's possible, maybe 3 seconds. But I mean, but without the guide, I wouldn't have been able to map out a perfect way to a perfect order, I should say, on disabling those monitors. Let's go look at some. Oh yes, so then there's also the collectible section of the guide, which includes so all of those daredevil jumps, and of course like all the, try to get to a good spot, all the Di Ravello tapes, which there are so many in every island and province. Oh, and of course the shrines, the rebel shrines, yeah, they're all over, and a lot of them, they're not obvious of where they are, especially the vintage parts. And so what the guide was really great about doing, see if you can try to see it up here, try to get a good spot. So it actually would have the coordinates, and it would tell you in the description of the coordinates, see if I can, I don't know if, I can't remember exactly where, but in the description, if it would tell you exactly where to go, which was helpful for one of the vintage parts because it was hidden in a cave. I couldn't figure out how to get to the cave, but I could see the marker on my map, because when you free an entire province, all the collectibles pop up on your map, but it doesn't mean you know how to get there. And this guide, so again, so one was popped up on my map. It was in a cave, and I could not figure out where to get to the cave, and the guide had where the entrance to the cave was, and it had the coordinates. So I was able to go to the map, line up the coordinates, and then, you know, place my marker there, and I was able to find it that way. So that was all very helpful. But again, if you do free all the provinces, you won't have a problem getting all the collectibles and those trophies or achievements because they're all marked. Now, as for trophies and achievements, there are none in this guide. The guide does not even list them. I looked through it 3 times. I looked through the entire collectibles section, the challenges section, which, I mean, I have to admit, I did not really look through the challenges because I hated all the challenges in the game, so I didn't really do them. But it does not give specific tips for each individual challenge. It gives you overall tips for the challenge type. So if you're having trouble with one particular challenge, like one different wingsuit race, you will not find specific tips for that race. So, but anyway, so back to the achievements. So I looked all through here. I looked in the beginning with all the enemies listed and the vehicles, and nothing. And it's not that you can't find them, you know, obviously in your list, but I believe every guide should have a list of the achievements and trophies. And on top of that, every guide should have a description on tips on how to get them, because not every achievement is that obvious on how to get. So anyway, so there's that. The other thing this does not do is that if you've played a Just Cause game, you know that there's a wide variety of vehicles and weapons that you can get. Some of them unlock by doing challenges. Some of them unlock by doing story missions. Some of them unlock by liberating a settlement or a province. While the guide does list all the weapons and, you know, description of each, it never says how you get it. So maybe if there's a specific, and even in the game you don't know, like it'll say like by a challenge, but won't tell you which one. It would be nice if you were looking for like, oh, maybe I kind of want to try this exotic weapon, and it doesn't tell you how to get it. If it's a specific challenge, which province to liberate, which settlement to liberate, which story mission to do to get it, doesn't have any of that, which is very, very unfortunate. So it just kind of feels like this was, like I said, rushed. I mean, what it has is very good, but it's missing substantial stuff that I think would make the guide 100% complete. I mean, it even says on the back, complete all challenges. Well, it's kind of hard for me to say, yes, this will help you complete all challenges, when it doesn't give you specific tips for every single challenge. So, yeah, it's kind of where I am on this one. I mean, it's a good guide. It's not a great guide. So if you need that extra help with Just Cause 3, think about what you need help with. If it's with the challenges, this will not have it. If it's with finding all the collectibles, this will have it. If you're stuck on a story mission, this will help. If you just want a nice little Just Cause 3 thing on your shelf, this is kind of nice. There's some, I mean, not fantastic artwork inside, but the game's not really known for its art. But it's a nice little Just Cause collectible. Um, it'll look nice, with your collection if you collect strategy guides like I do. So anyway, so there's my thoughts on Just Cause 3, and that is why I am giving this a 3.5 out of 5. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.